we're coming off two back-to-back weeks with two numbered events in UFC 324 featuring Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and UFC 325 that just took place last weekend featuring Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This week we got UFC Fight Night main eventing Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. And on our co-main event, we got Amir Albazi versus Horiguchi. I'm going to be giving you my picks and predictions for the full fight card, so let's get into it. First, we got Claudia Segula versus Priscilla Cachoeira. So Priscilla Cachoeira is a well-rounded fighter, but she likes to stay on the feet. She likes to apply heavy pressure and throw big punches. She likes to come in swinging, but that has costed her because in her last 5 fights, she's 2-3. Meanwhile, we got Claudia Segula. Claudia Segula is primarily a kickboxer and a heavy striker. She's very technical and likes to pick her shots. Out of her last 5 fights, she's 4-1, and she's coming off a decision. What we got here, fellas, is a well-rounded fighter in Cachoeira going against a relatively newer fighter in Segula. Like I said earlier, Cachoeira can mix it up, but she typically likes to stay on the feet, and that's what I predict is going to happen, especially since she's got a good dance partner in Segula. Segula is going to want to stay on the feet. The only worry here is that Segula's takedown defense isn't that good. She got taken down in her UFC debut versus Melissa Mullins, and she got TKO'd in the second round. And Cachoeira has alright takedown offense, but it doesn't worry me against Segula. Segula should be able to defend the takedown and pick her shots against Cachoeira. And we also got to keep in mind that Cachoeira is 37 years old, fellas. And in her last couple fights, she was gassing out. So because of all that, give me Segula by decision. Like I said, she should be able to defend the takedowns and win a very technical fight. So Segula by decision. Okay, moving up. We got Muin Gafurov versus Jacob Wicklacks. So this is going to be a grappling fight. Both fighters are grapplers. Jacob Wicklacks is a pressure grappler, and he loves to chain wrestle. He's going to come in heavy. The only problem with that is that he gassed out in his last fight against Patchy Mix, and we know how Patchy Mix came out. He got cut by the UFC, so that's not impressive, and his striking was non-existent. In Wicklacks' last 5 fights, he's 4 wins, no losses, and 1 draw. He's going up against Muin Gafurov. And Muin Gafurov, like I said, he's a good wrestler too, but the difference here is that he actually has hands. A whole lot better hands than Wicklacks. So Gafurov is going to be looking to keep the fight on the feet. In Gafurov's last 5 fights, he is 3-2. He loves to smother his opponents on the ground, and he is also a heavy pressure wrestler. Gafurov is going to be wanting to keep this fight on the feet. This fight is definitely going to go to decision 100%. I don't see Wicklacks winning at all because Gafurov has that UFC experience, and he also has high level experience fighting in the LFA. Give me Gafurov to gas out Wicklacks like he did against Patchy, and if not, by wrestling heavy and just putting a pace on him. We've seen Gafurov have some intense grappling sessions in the UFC, so I can trust his gas tank, and I can't trust Wicklacks. Not to mention, Wicklacks doesn't look for submissions or TKOs on the ground when he does get takedowns, and Gafurov does. So give me Gafurov to win by decision against Wicklacks. Let's move on. Alright. Next up, we got Wang Kong versus Eduarda Moura. So this is going to be an actually really good female fight, guys. Wang Kong has that KO power, and she's really good on the feet. And Eduarda Moura is a very technical fighter. She's very elusive on the feet, has good footwork, and good head movement. Eduarda Moura is coming in this fight with her last 5 fights being 4-1. And like I said, she's very elusive, very technical, and she wants to pick you from outside the pocket. She's going to throw some leg kicks, some 1-2s, and just circle around the cage. Meanwhile, Wang Kong, she's also 4-1 in her last 5, and she's going to come in with heavy pressure, trying to get that KO. She typically wants to get that finish, but keep in mind that Wang Kong's grappling and wrestling is very level. She did get taken down and beat up by Angela Hill, who is way out of her prime and old, man. She's real old. And Eduardo Mora is the younger fighter who's able to mix it up. Forget that she does have grappling, and I think Eduardo Mora is going to want to primarily keep this on the feet, but she will mix it up, and she'll definitely get a couple takedowns on Kong. And don't be surprised if she looks for a finish down there or looks for a TKO or a sub. With all that being said, I know most people are going to lean Wang Kong and going to pick her, but I'm going to have to pick Eduardo Mora. I think she's the better fighter, the more well-rounded fighter, and she'll mix it up. She'll be on the feet, and if the going gets tough, she'll be able to take down Kong and work her down there. So give me Eduardo Mora to win by decision as well, but don't be surprised if she does win by submission. Moving up in the card, next up, we got Samedov versus Javid Basharat. So Javid Basharat is 2-1 no contest in his last 5, and he's a well-rounded fighter. He's coming in with 2 back-to-back losses and is looking for a win in this fight against good competition in Said Nurmagomedov. But let's get into Basharat. Basharat is a well-rounded fighter. He can mix it up. He wants to keep it on the feet, but he will take you down and submit you if he has to. He's a very technical fighter, and he'll pick his shots and move around the cage, man. He's very elusive, good footwork. And with Said Nurmagomedov, he is 2-3 in his last 5 and is also looking for a win. And honestly, whichever fighter does come out with a loss might be on the chopping block. They might get cut because they're both riding 2-fight losing streaks back to back, but we'll see. But like I said, Nurmagomedov is primarily a kickboxer, and he's also a very technical fighter. But we have seen that he has good takedown offense when he fought against Moon Gafurov, which is also in this card, and he was able to get a guillotine and submit him. And not to mention, Nurmagomedov's guillotines are pretty good, man. They are pretty good. I will say, though, that Basharat's ground game and takedown offense is a whole lot better than Nurmagomedov. Like I said, he is primarily a kickboxer. So with all that being said, I do have to lean towards Javid Basharat to win by decision and get back into the win column. I don't know if they're going to keep Nurmagomedov. He's an okay fighter, but he can be boring to some. He's very technical, but yeah, give me Javid Basharat to win by decision. Next up, we got Bruna Brazil versus Ketlin Souza. So Ketlin Souza is coming in with a record of 2-3 in her last 5 fights, and she's a heavy boxer. She'll come in with heavy pressure, and she's trying to put your lights out. Meanwhile, Brazil, in her last 5 fights, she's coming in 3-2, and she's very technical as well. Her ground game isn't that good, but that's nothing to worry about against a fighter in Souza. Brazil's very technical and is looking to win by points, man. She'll circle around you and just kickbox you, wasting minutes on the clock. So against a fighter like Souza, this is going to be an easy win for Brazil. She's going to be able to avoid Souza's big shots because Souza's going to come in rushing. She's going to come in with big overhands, big hooks, and Brazil's very patient, and she's, like I said, she's very technical, man, very elusive. She'll be able to dodge everything that Souza does throw and piece her up from the outside. So this is an easy fight to predict. Give me Bruna Brazil to win by decision. Next up, we got Nikolai Kov versus Nico Price. We all know Nico Price. He is a veteran in the game, but since he's a veteran, he's very old, man. This guy's old. And in his last 5 fights, he's 1-4. This guy is in the chopping block. He has to win this fight to stay in the UFC, but I don't see that happening, man. I see the UFC's feeding this guy to Nikolai. I'm going to say Nikolai to make it a whole lot easier. Like I said, Nico Price is 1-4 in his last 5. He is a well-rounded fighter, but he likes to slug it out with you. And I think Nikolai is going to be able to do that with him. Nikolai is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And he's coming off a loss, and he's looking to get back into the win column with a win against Nico Price. Nikolai is a heavy pressure fighter, and he's trying to put the pace on you. This guy is going to walk Nico Price down, and he's most likely going to KO him, man, because Nico Price doesn't have a chin anymore. His chin is completely gone. I see no way that Nico Price does win this fight. He's old, has no chin, and I can't pick him, man. I can't pick him. Like I said earlier, I just see the UFC feeding the old to the young, man. They're trying to build Nikolai with a name like Nico Price onto Nikolai's resume. Since Nico Price, he's a well-known fighter. He's not a nobody. I'm sure some casuals know him, and definitely the hardcores know him. So give me Nikolai to knock out Nico Price, and this is the end for Nico Price, man. After this loss, he's done. The UFC ain't gonna keep him. He's 1-4, and after this loss, he's gonna be 1-5. He's done, man. He's gonna get cut. So Nikolai by KO in round 2. So we move on. Moving up into the card, we got Alex Morono versus Daniel Danchenko. So Daniel Danchenko is coming from the Ultimate Fighter. He's 5-0 in his last 5 fights, and he's a promising prospect, man. He's new to the UFC. He has 1 fight in the organization, and he won by KO in round 1. And I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. He's very promising. He does have some holes that he needs to work on, but that's nothing to worry about against a fighter like Alex Morono. Now, Alex Morono is 1-4 in his last 5, and he also needs a win to stay in the UFC. This guy's coming off a 3-fight losing streak, and he needs to win bad if he wants to stay with the UFC. But I don't see that happening this weekend. Daniel Danchenko is a very good kickboxer, man. This guy will put the pressure on you, and he's looking for a finish, man. This guy does not play around. And Alex Morono, he's old, man. He's over the hill, and I don't see how Morono wins this fight. Like I said earlier, the UFC is just trying to feed the old to the young, man. They're trying to build a name. Alex Morono is well known as well, like Nico Price. I don't see him winning, man. I don't see him winning. But what I will say, though, is that Morono is a well-rounded fighter. He has that experience. He's well-rounded. He can take you down. He can grapple. But he does want to keep it on the feet. And that's a bad mistake, bro. That's a bad mistake when you're going up against a guy in Daniel Danchenko. This guy, like I said, he's going to put the pressure on you. He's going to want to finish you within those 15 minutes. So this is an easy breakdown. I have to go with Daniel Danchenko by KO, and I'm going to say KO in round 1, man. Morono will fight, man, and he does have a chin. It's not as bad as Nico Price's, but I do see him getting knocked out this weekend. And that's going to be the end of the road for Morono, man. He loses this fight, he's done. He's not going to get re-signed. He's not going to get another fight. They're going to cut him. So give me Daniel Danchenko to win by KO in round 1. But if he doesn't get it in round 1, he's definitely going to get it in round 2. There's going to be a finish in this fight. So Daniel Danchenko to win by KO in round 1. Moving up in the card. Alright, fellas, now this is the opener to the main card. We got Justin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Now, Julius Walker is coming in his last 5 fights with a record of 4-1. And his one loss being against Alonzo Menafield, which is not a good look, man. Not a good look. Alonzo Menafield, I don't hold him in high regard, and I don't think he's a good fighter. So that's not a good look, but he's a really good prospect. And he's going up against Justin Jacoby, and Justin Jacoby is 3-2 in his last 5. And we all know Justin Jacoby, like I said, if you're a hardcore fan, you know who he is. And it's like most of these guys in the whole card, you should know who they are unless you're a casual. But like I said, Justin Jacoby, he's a good kickboxer. He's looking to put you out, and he comes in with heavy pressure, man. He's looking to finish you, like I said. But that's not a good idea with a guy like Julius Walker on the other side of the octagon. Julius Walker is a well-rounded fighter, man. This guy is a good kickboxer and has some good grappling and offense, man. This guy can take you down and submit you. And I got Julius Walker to win. This whole card, man, this whole card is the UFC feeding the old to the young, man. I got Julius Walker to win by decision. He should be able to piece up Justin Jacoby on the feet, but if he runs into some trouble, he should be able to take down Jacoby to the ground and do some work down there. I don't think he submits him at all. Walker does get a finish. I just think he wins by decision, so give me Julius Walker to win by decision. And Justin Jacoby is going to have more fights in the UFC, 100%. He's an entertaining fighter. And like I said, in his last 5, he's 3-2. So we should see Jacoby here pretty soon. But for this fight, give me Julius Walker to win by decision. Moving on, we got Jin Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat. We got the Basharat bros on this card. But let's break down this fight, guys. So Farid is a well-rounded fighter. He can piece you up on the feet and he could take you down. Most of his wins do come by decision, though. Nonetheless, he's a good fighter, and he's going to go against Jin Matsumoto, who is also well-rounded. Not as good as Boschrot, though, in my opinion. Matsumoto is primarily a grappler wrestler. He's looking to take you down and submit you there, but he can hold you down and kill time on the clock. His hands are not that good, in my opinion, and they're nothing compared to Boschrot's. I think Boschrot is the better striker, and in this fight, I think Boschrot's going to want to keep the fight on the feet. He should be able to stuff Matsumoto's takedowns and piece him up. He's very technical, but he can get into a slugfest if he has to or if he wants to. He's going to be looking to circle around the cage, pick his shots, and fight a very technical fight and win in the scorecard. But don't forget, guys, this is a very technical fight. This fight can go 50-50. Both fighters are very good. Both fighters are very high level. And don't be surprised if Matsumoto does win, man. This fight is 100%, in my opinion, going to go to decision. But I have to lean towards Farid Basharat to win the fight by decision. So I'm going to predict that both Basharat bros win on this scorecard. So give me Farid Basharat to win by decision. Moving up into the card, we got Mikhail Olenjacek versus Marc-Andre Barriault. So this is going to be a slugfest. Both fighters are brawlers. But the only thing here is that Olenjacek has some grappling and wrestling. So if he has to, he can take down Marc-Andre. We've seen that Marc-Andre doesn't have really good takedown defense. So that can be a positive on Olenjacek's side. Marc-Andre, in his last 5 fights, he's 1-4. So he really needs to win this fight badly. Because if he does lose, he has a big possibility of getting cut by the UFC. And Olenjacek is 2-3 in his last 5. This fight is very similar to the fight we got last week in Mauricio Rufy versus Rafael. This is bound to be a slugfest, and most likely there's going to be a finish in this fight. But I have to lean towards the side of Olenjacek, and I think he can take down Marc-Andre and beat him up with ground and pound. Like I said, he should be able to stand his own on the feet, but if it does get tough, or if Marc-Andre is finding success on the feet, Olenjacek will take him down and work him on the ground. I don't see a submission coming on the side of Olenjacek, but I do see a ground and pound win or a decision win coming from Olenjacek's side. But with all that being said, I have to lean Olenjacek to win by decision. But don't be surprised if he wins by ground and pound via TKO. Alright, moving up. Fight of the night, we've got Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. In his last fought Curtis Blades in a fight that he lost, and a lot of people were surprised that the UFC signed him because he did have some controversy because he popped for using steroids. In his last 5 fights, he has 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 no contest. We have to keep in mind, though, like I said in that Curtis Blades fight, Curtis Blades wasn't able to take down Rizvan Kuniev. And if Curtis Blades wasn't able to do that, I doubt that Jailton Almeida can. Especially since Jailton Almeida's gas tank isn't that good. He tends to gas in the end of the second and definitely in the third. Not only that, but Rizvan Kuniev also has hands compared to Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida has no type of hands. He gets pieced up all the time, and he got pieced up by Curtis Blades as well with elbows when he shot a nasty takedown, and Curtis Blades just elbowed him in the side of the head and TKO'd him. But with all that being said, even if this fight does go into the ground, I have to lean towards Rizvan Kuniev to be the better grappler because he does look for finishes and he does look for ground and pound. And he won't lay there. He will try to get up or find a better position. Meanwhile, Jailton Almeida will lay there looking for the perfect opportunity. And with a guy like Kuniev on top of him or in his guard, that's not going to happen. So with all that, I've got to lean towards Rizvan Kuniev to win. And I think this fight's going to go to decision, so give me Rizvan Kuniev to win by decision. Alright, fellas, and for our co-main event, we've got Amir Albazi versus Hiroshi Horiguchi. And this fight's going to be really good, guys. This is going to tell us how good Horiguchi is. Yes, he just won. Yes, he just came off a win against Tagir Alimbekov, and that says a lot because Horiguchi's 35 years old, and to the looks of it, he's still in his prime. He's still really good. He's still showing that he's top tier, showing that he's high caliber in the flyweight division. If he gets a win in this fight, he's most likely going to fight for the belt next. Horiguchi is a very well-rounded fighter. He's good on the ground. He's good on the feet. And honestly, he can win this fight in any way he wants. He can win by TKO, by submission, or by decision. Now let's touch on Amir Albazi. So Amir Albazi is coming off a loss against Brandon Moreno, and that fight took place about a year and a half ago. In that fight, he looked very slow, very, very stiff, and he just looked out of it, man. It looked like he looked like a shell of himself. And that's because his whole career he's been sitting out. He had to have a heart surgery, which made him sit out from the sport, and then he also had to have a back surgery, which also made him sit out from the sport. And all that time he's getting ring rust, and he's not able to perform his best with all those injuries. Meanwhile, Gucci hasn't had any injuries. He's being the more active fighter, and he has a reason to win this fight. He's going to fight for the belt next if he does win this fight. Ballsy has the same possibility if he wins this fight, but I don't see him winning. Horiguchi's going to be one step ahead. He's the better fighter in my opinion, and like I said earlier, Horiguchi can win this fight any way he wants. I can't pick a guy in Albazi that has had several surgeries, especially surgeries that are career ending, like that heart surgery and that back surgery that I mentioned. Not to mention, like I said, the time off that he's had and his last performance. This fight is really going to show us how good Horiguchi is because Albazi's in the top 10 of the flyweight division. But with all that being said, Horiguchi should be able to get the win easily, in my opinion, by, by whatever he wants. But specifically for me, I'm going to have to go Horiguchi by KO, TKO in round 3. And if he doesn't get that, he should win by decision. But give me Horiguchi, that's the official pick. Now for the main event, we've got Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. Now this is going to be a really, really good fight. This is going to be a very technical fight, and it should be very exciting. Now we know what Vinicius Oliveira wants to do. He wants to strike on the feet. He's a heavy striker, and he's a flashy striker. He's always looking for those nasty KOs, those highlight KOs, and we can see that from the flying knee KO that he got against Sopai in a fight that he was losing, and that's another thing. Vinicius Oliveira can't come back from a losing fight. Now, Oliveira is not a well-rounded fighter. He's primarily, like I said, a striker, a showy striker, but his takedown defense and offense isn't that good. All that being said, Vinicius Oliveira, in his last 5 fights, he's 5-0, but let's look at his competition in the main event. And he's going up against Mario Bautista. Now, we know how good he is. He might not be the most entertaining fighter, the most explosive fighter, but we know what he's going to do and we know how he's going to win. Mario Bautista in his last 5 fights, he's 4-1, and that one loss coming from Umar Nurmagomedov, in which we saw the type of fighter that Mario is. This guy's a gamer, man. This guy's in it 100% of the time. He was able to scramble with Umar, keep it on the feet, and compete with him 100%. But we did notice that Mario Bautista was one step behind, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Umar Nurmagomedov is a very good striker, is a very good fighter, and the #1 bantamweight in the division. So if Mario Bautista was able to hold his own in that fight, he should be able to do the same with Vinicius. Like I said, he's the better fighter. He 100% has that grappling and wrestling in his back pocket. But this fight should stay on the feet. Both fighters should be striking. And I think Vinicius Oliveira is going to try to come in with heavy pressure and try to hit Mario Bautista with something flashy or something with a lot of KO power. But Mario Bautista has been in there with the best, and he is elusive enough to move out of the way of anything that Vinicius does throw. We've seen Mario Bautista piece up Patchy Mix in his fight, and a lot of people held Patchy Mix to a high regard. But let's just say that Mario Bautista does get in some trouble on the feet. Like I said, he always got that wrestling and grappling in his back pocket. So let's just say he gets stumbled. Let's just say he gets hurt. He will shoot for a takedown, and he should be able to get it because, like I said, Vinicius Oliveira's takedown defense isn't that good, and Mario's is. So even then, Mario Bautista should be able to work Vinicius to the ground and do his job. With all that being said, this is a very technical fight. I think that Mario Bautista has what it takes to keep this fight on the feet, be perfect, and win this fight by outstriking Vinicius. Remember, guys, that Vinicius, well, we got to remember that Vinicius is not out of the fight. He's always got that KO power, and he's not to be counted out. But the official pick has to be Mario Bautista. Like I said, he's a more well-rounded fighter, the battle-tested fighter, and the fighter with more experience. to give me Mario Bautista by decision. Alright guys, those were my picks and predictions for the whole fight card. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree, or think some of my takes are straight out crazy. Till next time.